GSL.
Welcome back to GSL Code S, everybody, the home of crazy games. We're
Some of the craziest games ever, man. I can't believe that game won.
People are still going nuts about that on Reddit, on Twitter.
Dude.
Tweeting back and forth. That's one of the craziest ones.
It doesn't get closer than that.
I don't think I've passed a closer game. We had the PvP one between Parting and Myungshik that was pretty much the craziest game I casted, and today actually trumps that. It was insane.
It's funny how that works. Fantasy, he's got to do it all again against someone maybe just a little bit stronger in Rogue.
Yeah.
Though they do, granted, have the same kind of mentality. So maybe if he does win another pretty tilting game one, we're going to see Rogue fall apart in game two. Wouldn't be the first time.
I would not be surprised, actually. Let's see what the maps are. I want to see that as well. Let's see if Fantasy actually bounds out Overgrowth again. He does. So we're going to see... Okay, Rogue vetoes Iron Fortress and King Safe on
Whoa,
station.
Rogue wants to play mech. He wants to play against mech. He's going to play on Varney and Deadwing. These are 100% mech maps. The only one that might not be is Merry-Go-Round because it is just that much harder for Terran to try and get mech on that map.
You know, I guess it is random in terms of which maps come first out of the three that were not banned, right?
Yeah.
But maybe if Rogue can win game number one, he can be in a good position to win against mech in game number two.
I guess he's just that confident against mech. That is so surprising. I can't wait to see what he's got planned. Yeah,
maybe he's got something figured out. I mean, I'm sure all the top Zergs right now are just practicing against this kind of style and saying, what can I do? Maybe Rogue on the Jin Air Green Wings, maybe him and like Simple over there are like concocting some kind of solution against mech, and he's like, okay, bring it on.
Yeah.
Really excited to see what he's got planned here.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Even the map one's going to be interesting to see what Fantasy is going to do because he does love his mech style. Is he going to try something similar? Or is he going to go for the more standard sort of bio style on that kind of map?
Yeah, I think he will go bio. I mean, Fantasy, like you said, definitely favoring that mech, but he's not bad at bio either. Although Rogue, he's had quite a few games on this map where he's just like crushed Terrans, crushed all-ins. He's been very good on this map from recent memories, so I would favor Rogue here in game number one. But as we said before, really curious to see what he's going to do on the next couple of maps after that.
Yeah, Fantasy no doubt going to be feeling pretty confident after that first set against Sue. It's going to be exciting, man. I cannot wait to get this game started.
It's such an interesting series, actually, after the one we just saw, also because Rogue was watching, and I'm sure he was studying Fantasy through and through, whereas Fantasy, he didn't quite get the same treat. He was watching a ZVP from Rogue. It's not the same thing, not the same matchup.
Exactly.
Well, guys, let's go into the game right now. It's Fantasy versus Rogue in the winner's match. GSL Code S Group C. Down here in the south, in the red, our Terran player. He is
Dead Pixels Fantasy.
Now, the good thing about this map for Fantasy is that we haven't seen him play on it today. Neither has Rogue. And up here in the top left, it is someone named
Jin Air Green Wings Rogue.
So I guess it's kind of like the redeeming thing, It's also a map that's going to force the Terran to play a lot different to the other maps. So we saw some pretty standard sort of mech style from Fantasy on the other maps, but this one you don't normally see it the same way.
What do you think about Iron Fortress for mech?
It's pretty interesting, actually.
You think it's viable? You think it's possible? Because Fantasy was going for it. He was making two factories win.
It's hard to say, because
Sue fell apart.
It is a very spread out kind of map. It is hard to hold all your bases as well.
Whoa.
Ooh.
That was quick.
Hide them.
Even the guy is like embarrassed.
Don't be ashamed. It's a beautiful thing, StarCraft. You know it. You saw that game.
Yeah. How can you not have passion after that game we played?
Exactly.
How can you hide your face? That's a disgrace.
It's a disgrace, Valdez. But as we were talking about before, Iron Fortress, I don't know. I'm on the fence about if it's actually going to be a good map or not. Same with this map as well when it comes to mech. It's definitely not the easiest map to mech on. I'm sure it's possible, and I'm sure Fantasy might even try it, simply because we did see him try it on Iron Fortress.
That's what I'm curious about. We're talking about, Merry-Go-Round's not the best one for mech, but maybe he takes that base in the middle there, sets up some kind of planetary, I guess. Get a bunch of tanks around there.
He'd probably... Oh, it's so hard to say because it is such a hard map to defend everything on. I'd have to say he'd probably want to get the further away one first.
You think so?
And then go for the planetary in the mid for the 4th. That'd be the smarter way to go about it, so he does have better ways to defend these bases.
Yeah, I guess that's
but
true.
Even then, he's so spread out between the natural and 3rd that it's kind of the reason why you don't normally see mech like that as well. And Rogue sends one drone, note one drone, not 14, to deal with a bunker that is the timing of a Reaper.
Take note, Sue. I hope you're watching.
Take note, angry Sue. This is how it's meant to be.
And it's the same opening from Rogue, by the way. Gasless, expand.
Oh, that was one shot away. Well, Rogue did go for that very quick extractor, but he's not getting any gas now. Yeah. So he's going to get very quick Zergling speed. Ooh. Same opening from Fantasy, just going to go for multiple Reapers from here. So at the very least, the start's the same. Let's see if the mid game is going to be the same kind of choice as well. Ooh, Fantasy actually could have got surrounded there.
Oh, I actually miscalled that a lot. This is actually a gas expand from Rogue. My bad.
Oh, you're fine.
He does get the speed.
Fine.
So there we go, about halfway done. Queen about to pop out down here, going to help out.
Gets
that drone did go down.
Forced out a lot of lanes, not going to lose any of the Reapers either. He's on a small window though, around the 6-minute mark or just before. These Lings will have speed and they will shut down the Reapers. And that's going to be 3 Reapers as well. 3 Reapers, factory, double CC, all looking exactly the same here.
Yeah. Worked against Sue. Do it against Rogue.
Yep, give it a shot.
Yeah.
And Hellion Banshee is pretty strong in this map as well. But guess what? There's no starport currently.
Yeah, I think he went for that 3rd CC a little bit faster.
Kind of looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if we are going to see a tech lab on that rack. So simply just Marines for now.
Okay.
Could also be an armory.
Yeah, it could be 2 base.
There we go.
Hellbats.
Yeah.
Kind of timing. There
Could
it
be
is.
Hellbats.
Okay. Now it's up to Rogue to identify this. He's got 1 Overlord in position.
It's actually going to be
base.
a very aggressive one because he didn't go for starport, which is so interesting. So it's going to be on the ground based. He's going to probably wait for about 8 Hellions, which is usually the normal count. Yeah. So it's going to be like 8 Hellions, a Marine to deny the Overlord, and 3 Reapers.
Yeah. He also has a transition point. He does have that 3rd CC coming up, so even if it does go completely wrong for Fantasy, not all is lost.
Yep, the power of Terran. At this point, they can apply a lot of aggression. Some of the aggression can even win the game, simply, especially Hellbats. And you always have that fallback with the 3rd CC. Marine's going to try and deny this Overlord. It's going to see the 3rd Command Center at the very least. Now, here's one dangerous thing. Oh, never mind. He's put them into Hellbats already. He's shown his hand very early on. Still not enough Lings to deal with it, though. He's going to get the rest of his Hellions over there. He's going to cancel it. I think he has to.
With 2 more Hellbats coming in, I think it would be wise, but it looks like Rogue actually is just going to go for the trade, but 1 Queen goes down, the others don't have enough for a Transfuse, forcing out some more Lings here.
You know what? He's not going to get the kill in the hatchery. He's going to weaken it pretty hardcore.
He's got more on the way, though, and there's not a lot of Lings here.
Yeah,
60 more on the way, but they're not out yet. Just 8.
This could be enough.
Oh, man.
Really nice micro from Fantasy, actually.
Oh, boy. He's going to kill his 2nd Queen here, I believe, going for a 3rd one, but a lot of Lings pop out. And I think eventually here, he will be able to push it back.
Yeah, he's going to push it back now. At the very least, it forced out a lot of Lings. It weakened that hatchery. It stopped all the tech regression from Rogue as well. And it looks like Rogue's going to maybe try for a counterattack. He does have so many Lings on the map now. Wouldn't be the worst idea if he found a way in. And he's going to be buy from here. Okay. Understandable. You don't want to go mech on this map.
Yeah.
I was still curious there.
We were thinking maybe Fantasy out of all Terrans.
Crazy
maybe.
enough. If he's that crazy, maybe.
He's like, this is just too good against Zerg. I have to do it.
It's like I can win no matter what, it seems. I'll try again.
Yeah. We've seen that before in other times of StarCraft.
Oh, Ling's trying for a surround. Doesn't find it. No creep. Not enough Lings either. Not enough of a spread. Hellion's going to be up in the map, and they can turn into Hellbats any time, which makes it so much scarier.
Taking a look at upgrades here, it looks like the Terran got them out slightly ahead of the Zerg. So it's going to be nice. Maybe he gets a 2-2 timing, but more importantly, going to try to get that 3-3 very fast, as is the way of TVZ.
Yeah. Third CC down as well. Start mining from that forward base in the middle. It's going to be his staging point. We want to put a bunker down there pretty soon as well. Get that SimCity up around it, so we can defend against anything that might come early on. Yeah, we're just going to go in that sort of standard mid-game. We're going to see Rogue go for a fourth base pretty soon as well.
Yeah, he's going to make a big swell of lanes for now.
Scared of what's on the map, it seems.
Yeah.
Yep. Spire on the way finally. Should be around a 13-minute Spire finish. It's kind of the standard we have here. Just a very greedy Zerg, you know. He got fully saturated on 3 bases very quickly.
Yeah.
One thing Rogue has been doing very well, he's just been playing these very solid macro games today. And there's that fourth base.
Fourth base coming up, Spire. As you mentioned, our observer shows us that Rogue is pretty heavily supply blocked. I think it's going to be okay, though. I mean, he's got a lot of drones pumping. He's going to want to save his minerals and gas anyway for a bunch of mutas as that Spire just finished up, too. So it's not the worst thing in the world.
And he's going to hold tight for now, wait for those mutas. He wants to get a, you know, a healthy number out. 9 to 10 would be enough. Apply the pressure, shut down any drops. Then maybe look for an opening. If Fantasy tries to engage, you know, anytime soon and gets completely crushed, the counter-attack alone could be what kills him. It's generally what Zergs on full base will want to go when they're going Bane Muta. Look for that timing, look for that opportunity to just end the game. One foul swift, one whatever. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. One foul swoop. There we go.
Yeah, one foul swoop.
I got it. You messed it up too, fellas. We don't even know.
One fell poop.
What's English?
Yep.
Don't know.
14 mutas about to come out here. Rogue actually able to take out that bunker. Could come into play a little bit earlier, or rather later, but Fantasy immediately puts down another bunker there.
14 mutas on the way behind this. Going to delay that 2-2 for the Ling Bane for just a little bit. Going to give Fantasy that opportunity to have 2-2 quite some time sooner.
There's just so many Lings out on the map. Clearing up all these drops.
Yeah, cleaning up all those creep tumors. Needs to have a path to that fourth base at the very least, or inwards more. Nice around here. It's going to wipe out the small army, force him back even further.
Yeah, these drops are just really not getting any damage done. Rogue is actually trading pretty well, you know?
Wow, Rogue even actually adding the 7th and 8th gas on that fourth base. Something you don't normally see these days. Normally you want to see Zerg sit on 6 gas, just go for very heavy Ling Bane with his mutas, and try and kill from there. Maybe he wants to transition a little bit later in the game, you know? Maybe we'll see an Infestation Pit come down soon. Attempt at going to Ultras and 3-3 would be the next follow-up. One thing that Rogue is kind of missing out on is he's not putting down extra creep. He doesn't have a creep queen actively on the map, replacing all the tumors he's losing. So that middle creep is kind of evaporating at this point. It's kind of getting scary. It's going to give a lot more space than Fantasy should have to engage.
Yeah. One thing I've also noticed out of Fantasy, though, is that he's made no Widowmites. He's just committing to Thors and Hellbats instead for AoE. I mean, Thor's not really AoE, more so for the mutas here, but
not very efficient there.
No Widowmites. It's not really a style you see too often out of Terran these days.
Yeah, you know what? The last time I really saw this style was probably from Flash, you know, on this map just the same. He loves to just go for a heavy bio with Hellbat and Thor, and just simply avoid going for any sort of Widow Mines.
If I remember correctly, it didn't work out too well.
He had a couple of good games, I think. Like, I was kind of impressed with some of them, but he didn't didn't have much luck. In general, Flash hasn't had much luck in this matchup.
Yeah, that's true.
But here we go. This is the reason why you want creep in the middle of the map when you have that fourth base in the high ground, because they can drop constantly. They can park their Thor underneath, so any mutas that get close to defend the drop are going to get shot at pretty ruthlessly.
Yeah, look at that. Look at all those mutas getting so low, and another shot!
Big hits.
A couple of them went down there. Just one Thor. That's all you need. You're exactly right, Moonblade. This is just so annoying for the Zerg.
Here we go. Looks like Rogue's had enough. He's going to try and clean it up on the low ground. But look at the spread from Fantasy. And it's all off creep.
Yep, look at all these Banelings just go down. They take out like a small group of Marines, and it is a ton of Banelings.
It's a ton. But more and more reinforcements are coming up from Fantasy, and they're just engaging off creep. And look at this. He cannot even fight this. The 2-2 bio stands strong. Not really enough to press the 4th base, but all the creep is gone. He has his El Naga tower. All he has to do is sit there, heal up, wait for the reinforcements as he takes his 4th base.
Yeah, he's trading really well. I mean, he's got that 3-3 on the way too. One thing Rogue does have going for him is, you know, with that extra gas, he's getting so many Banelings Moonblade, and I don't know, it's definitely going to help him out.
So many Banelings.
Yeah, keeps his mute count pretty low, staying at 14 for now, really focusing on just Ling Bane, more so the focus on the Bane here.
Yeah. If only he had more creep spread to kind of help complement the Ling Bane is the other thing. We are seeing another drop at that 4th base. Going to trade a little bit. Oh, not paying attention. Saves mostly. Really distracted by these mutas that are looking for picks. And look at that army from Fantasy. And look at that supply lead from Fantasy. He's up 20 right now. He's got the best position in the world. He's got the middle of the map. He's fighting no creep. He's got a direct path to that 4th base.
Yeah. He's got his own 4th base, and I dare say it, once this 3-3 hits, I'm not sure what Rogue's going to do. He still doesn't have that creep spread. He's still sticking on the same composition, and that's going to be a very dangerous Terran. As long as he gets good splits with this 3-3, like, what is Rogue going to do?
40 in-game seconds away from that +3 attack, and that's going to make the biggest difference in the world in this matchup. It always does, especially in these positions, which every fight is going to be favorable for Fantasy, you know? Because Rogue never replaced his creep. He doesn't have any creep queens on the map. He's looking for a big surround by the looks of things, but it's still going to be ugly. No matter what he does, it's always going to be in a disadvantage because it's not on creep, unless Fantasy is completely bunched together.
Look at all the Banelings rolling through. The Marines not split as well as last time, but some reinforcements come in, and honestly, these aren't the best Baneling hits, but there's just so many of them.
There's so many, but they're all cleaned up at this point. They got kited, they got lifted.
Off creep. You know,
creep, man.
3-3 hits.
You
the 3-3 attack hits
them.
at least, and well, there you go. That's the fight we were expecting.
That is exactly what happens. Now these mutas are going to try for the drop again. Thor waiting. Rogue, he's in a lot of trouble right now. He is so far down in supply. Down in economy now because he had to evacuate the 4th base.
Yeah. Fantasy just in a commanding lead in this game, and he's not even playing mech. I dare say it, Fantasy is playing really, really strong today, but I also have to say the Zerg's not the greatest play that I've ever seen.
Yeah, a bit disappointing so far from Rogue. Maybe on the next map you'll see a bit more luck. You're now seeing another bit of a trade. You might actually clean it up this time. Thor's will remain. Still a lot of damage and a big trade up.
Yeah.
Fantasy remains ahead.
30 supply ahead. Still has 3-3. He's getting +3 attack for his mech units as well. Finally, Hive on the way for Rogue. Maybe if he can possibly hold on for like 5 minutes longer.
I didn't even know if that's a thing, Valdez, because every fight he takes is cost inefficient at this point. Like, to a big point. Like, he's always going to be losing when it comes to money. And Fantasy is ahead in economy, and he's going to get further ahead because he just has a 5th base. That's going to be in a planetary soon enough. So I think Rogue has to make something happen now, but I don't think he has any traction left. He is just, he's constantly trying to regain the economy that he's lost. He's fighting in these ugly positions. Nice counterattack in the 5th. It's going to force it to lift. Maybe pull the units back. Fantasy. He's going to maintain this drop though, and trading out pretty efficiently against Banelings.
Yeah, nice little dropping there on the Banelings. These mutas have to be so careful punching up this much against the Thors.
Yeah. These are 1-1 mutas as well. They're going to take a lot of damage. No extra upgrades coming in. Scan goes down. Sees the army, sees the spread, knows exactly, okay, you're going to come at me from every way again. There's no creep though, so it's fine. You can go for it.
Yep.
I will spread my units.
Look at all these Thors spread out. The Marine clumps, oh, that one got demolished. But is it going to be enough here from Rogue? The Banelings rolling forward, and that's pretty much all he's got on the ground. GG.
GG.
There you have it.
You know, some big mistakes from Rogue in that game. just not finding creep spread, I think, is probably the bigger one. The biggest picture here is like you have to have the creep spread in the middle of the map there to get the engagements you need. So you can build momentum with the Ling Bay meter and go for a counterattack, try and win the game off that. If you're not doing that, go for high velocity quicker, get down ultras, invest in something. If you're going to try and fight the Terran so cost inefficiently for the rest of the game, you're just eventually going to lose.
Yeah. We're going to jump into game number 2. It's going to be on Bonnie Research Station. This is the game I was more so curious about, you know, because
Absolutely.
maybe Rogue has some kind of secret kind of composition, some kind of play style that he's going to use against Mech because he let 2 Mech maps through.
Yeah, he's no doubt planned for Mech when it comes to fantasy. I think he's been thinking about this a lot, and he knows what he wants to do against Mechs. That's why he let fantasy go for these Mech maps. He's like, I will allow you to do this. You're welcome to it, but I'm going to kill you because you are going to try it.
Yeah. And maybe that's the reason why he looked kind of shaky against Bio. Maybe he's practicing so much against Mech.
Maybe he wasn't expecting merry-go-round to be on the map pool. You know, maybe it was
possible.
Maybe he was expecting it later on in the series. I'm not sure. He got rid of the ugly one, though. Now it's only going to be Mech from here on out.
Yeah. I'm sure Fantasy's got to be so confident going into this one. Takes out Su 2-0, takes out Rogue in a Bio game on merry-go-round. Now he's going into his comfort zone with Mech up against Rogue. A guy he's up 1-0. He's won 3 games in a row. I'm definitely favoring Fantasy here, but let's see what Rogue can pull out against Mech.
Let's see what he can cook up. I have no idea what it must be, but I think it's going to be very aggressive because no one wants to go to the late game against Mech at this point in time. Yep. It's too difficult, Valdez.
Maybe some kind of timing coming out of Rogue here. It's a long map at that. Fantasy does have a lot of room to buy himself some time to survive some kind of aggressive attack. But guys, we're going to jump into game number 2 right now of the winners match of Group C. It's Fantasy versus Rogue. Let's jump into it right now. Down here in the south, in the red, our Terran player. He is
Dead Pixels Fantasy.
One game away from getting out of this group stage.
Fantasy is like smirking in the booth.
Up here at the top, we do have the Zerg player.
Gene Air Green Wings Rogue.
Surprisingly losing that game against Bio. I thought he would have been kind of had the advantage against Fantasy.
Yeah. Doesn't really look like on one of the sad Rogue levels just yet, but more of a concerned Rogue is what we're seeing.
It's level 2. Level 2 Rogue.
First he's sad, then he's concerned.
Yep.
Then he gets angry, frustrated, and then devastated.
Probably because it is Fantasy as well. He's a great player. Maybe he respects him a little bit more than maybe Myungshik, for instance, especially when Myungshik wasn't doing very well earlier this year. Like, losing to him would tilt you just a little bit more. So he went straight to 5 when he lost to Myungshik. And he kind of got crushed from there. Hey, guys.
Welcome to the studio. Glad you're down here joining us. I hope you caught those games earlier.
Oh, they did. They did. No one's going to miss them. And we are seeing a pool first from Rig this time around.
Pool first and CC first from Fantasy.
Well, this is a hard map to kind of do any punishing with the pool first. Maybe afraid of Proxy Reaper, perhaps. I don't think he's really planning on making Lings and going down to the natural of Fantasy and killing that SEV.
Nah.
I don't think so. But
we see a gas after CC from Fantasy.
So greedy right now.
If Rogue had gone for some kind of early pull, like 9 pool, or saying, like that could have
cancels the racks and stuff.
Yeah. That could have been devastating for Fantasy, but Rogue, I don't think he wants to take that chance here in game number 2, and maybe that's why Fantasy is going for this kind of greed. He's like, oh, you're not going to do that. No way in hell.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to go CC into gas first, and there's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Sorry, Rogue.
Rogue went for the complete defensive sort of build here. 15 pool, straight into a queen. No Lings on the map, which would what you'd normally expect from a 15 pool, to try and go on the map there and try and do harassment, maybe the command center if it was a Reaper build. Instead, just to get a queen out, just to be prepared in case it was an early Reaper. Which I kind of like, but, you know, just puts him behind slightly.
CC finishing here for Fantasy, double orbital on the way. Just making Marines for now. Surely going to block that off, maybe make a bunker if he wants to be safe. But of course, on this map, you get that
You don't
little
need a
ramp.
bunker.
You
Terrans
have that,
don't need a bunker.
You get that back door, you're fine.
Yeah, you're just fine.
You're fine.
You're
Second
fine.
gas coming up. May see some Banshees out of Fantasy.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be one of those Hellion Banshee Reaper maps. Oh, sorry, not Reaper. Hellion Banshee maps into that mech play. He doesn't even have to go Reapers on this map. He doesn't have to be afraid of anything up this point. Because it does have that pocket natural.
Yeah. We're playing it up like the Terran can essentially just do whatever he wants. He's like, yep,
They can, Valdez. They can.
do whatever you want, Fantasy. You're fine.
So, yeah, you know, make another command center, you know? I'm sure he will. Just wait and see. There's no problem. You can do whatever you want,
Stir
man.
it down. Do it, Fantasy. I know you're that kind of dirty Terran.
You dirty boy, Fantasy. He's going to go for that starport first. you
Yeah.
know, Go for that tech lab, perhaps. Or will you go for something a little bit more cheeky? Nope. It's going to be that tech lab. I was wondering, go for that, you know, Hellion drop or something cool like that. That'd be fun to see.
That would have been cool. Would have been different.
We don't see it that often. I like it a lot against the kind of Zergs that go for gasless expands, you know, because they don't have speedlings on the map. They can't chase down the minivac as well.
Yeah.
Hellions can get a lot better of a position, do a lot more damage.
First two Hellions going to pop out here.
Ooh, look at that, a minivac. Well, 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 Valdez.
What have we done?
I didn't want to blow my trumpet, but I guess we are going to see a Hellion drop.
Yes, please don't blow your trumpet on stream. That would be gross.
Oh.
We got a medevac coming out here and an armory. So, looks like it's going to be Hellbat drops.
Could be a Hellion drop first, Valdez. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say otherwise, mate.
You know, it could be that Hellion drop, 4 Hellions, morph him into Hellbats.
Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah. Now we're on the same page.
Now
He
this-
sees the armory.
Yeah, he sees the armory,
He's got to know what this
but he
is.
doesn't see the medivac.
Sees the cloak.
He sees the cloak. You know, that's fine. He canceled the cloak. So you know what?
Yeah.
And look at this. Oh, who got it right?
It was Moonglade.
Moonglade got it right, and he's going to be dropping into this very vulnerable natural.
And what does Rogue have? He's got a queen.
got a
He's
queen.
got one queen in the main, too.
Queen
But one queen is not enough.
and a spore crawler. And surprise, he's going to start working on the queen first. One Hellbat, thinking about going to the drone line.
Yeah. Well, now the queen is pushed out. So
Well,
now these Hellbats are like, well,
just one queen.
you got medevacs, you get your heal in there. This is not enough queens. He needs the links to pop out. Finally, they do. Nice focusing on the medevac. Gonna get that
yeah.
down first. But still, 4 Hellbats doing a decent job. And at the same time, a couple Hellbats coming in the front.
Uh-oh.
3 of them, in fact.
Yeah.
And Marines with this.
Oh, this could do a lot of damage. It's going to maybe get this queen. No, not just yet. It's going to start working on this naturally, on this third base. Oh,
There's nothing back here to deal with this. Rogue is freaking out.
He left it. Uh-oh, Rogue already falling apart. This is very similar to
All
what we
these drones
saw.
are bunched up now.
I told you before, you know, they have the same mentality, Sue and Rogue, and they're falling apart once again. And this is game-ending damage because these drones can't mine at the third base. There's 15 drones.
And there's just more and more Hellions on the way. These drones are all alone. And does Rogue even have a Roach Warren?
Nope, he's
No,
got
he has
Banelings.
a Baneling Nest.
If he had his Banelings a little while earlier, it might have been a good thing.
Oh my god.
So many queens.
All those drones, they're just
Oh.
dead. They line up. That's going to be it.
Oh.
Fantasy's going to 2-0 both Zergs.
20 drones.
He's going to 2-0 both Zergs and get out of the group in first place.
He is. How
GG.
amazing. Don't call it yet, Valdez.
I mean, I'm just saying GG, like
Soon.
Fantasy is a sick player.
He's a sick person, man. You can't do this to people.
Is this even legal?
No, it's not, actually. He's going to go for this one queen at the back, but he can do whatever he wants with these Hellbats now. They've done their damage.
53 to 31 workers here. In advantage for the Terran.
Oh, man. He even got more in the main.
Oh my god.
Well, from here, it's just going to be the mech play, man. And he's already up 20, 30 supply.
Nidus.
He's going to Nidus. Oh, it's the same thing we saw last game as well.
And Fantasy,
Why are these guys playing the same way?
I don't know. It's Deja Vu, man. It's Groundhog's Day.
Around.
I hate to pull a tasteless, but it seriously is.
It's dead Zerg Day.
Yeah.
Sad Zerg Day. I don't know.
And Fantasy's already got supply depots. He had those from early on in the game.
Tilt
He's like,
Zerg
okay,
Day.
I know. You know, I'm just going to do this aggression. He may go for Nidus. I'm just going to be safe, put those down. Totally safe.
Mentally weak Zerg Day. I don't know. I could keep going. So many of these things are so true. And here comes the roach starting to be made. He does see this empty third base, and he thinks to himself, what have you got planned, young man?
Those larvae have to be going somewhere. They're not just disappearing.
He's going to try up the ramp. Oh, the Lings. They can get a big shot off of them if he wants
There's
to.
the Nidus. He sees it.
He sees the roach as well.
Does he notice it?
Oh, can
Maybe
he actually
just won't.
Oh, he can't deal with it. There's two. Oh, there's a Banshee coming down now. There's two Thors in the main base as well, mind you. And a tank and a Thor being built as well.
Yeah.
Lings are going to get out.
Tank going to be pretty crucial to hold this off.
He didn't transfuse. He didn't transfuse.
Whoa.
He didn't transfuse Valdez.
I guess he'll force a lift here, buying himself some time to try to come back in the space. This Nidus gets scouted too. Immediately pulled. Two Banshees are out now. No way any more Niduses are getting up. GG. Fantasy wins 2-0 against both Zergs and moves on to the round of 16.
I have no idea, Valdez. What are we seeing today? Fantasy just made it full of two Zergs, man.
Yep.
Two of the best Zergs we have. I need a shower.
That was gross, man. We saw it there, Fantasy playing incredibly well, but also our Zergs, especially in both game twos, kind of falling apart.
Well, these guys are going to have to really fix themselves going into these loser matches. Su's going to be the first one up. He's going to be up against Trust, and then winner of that's going to be facing Rogue. And I want to see a tilted Zerg match, man. I want to see these two.
Oh, that would be so funny.
I want to see the emo Zerg war.
They both 9-pull each other, like 9-pull Baneling.
But they like fail and stuff, and the Banelings hit the hatchery or the extractor for some reason, and actually do no damage to anything.
That would be hilarious.
And it just keeps happening over and over until they run out of minerals and one of them GGs because they're depressed or something.
Like a rage GG, even though he's ahead.
It's like,
we're like, I don't know what to tell you guys, but
these guys.
That doesn't make any sense.
By the end of the best of 3, one of them has like clinical depression. It's so sad, so dark. But I don't know, man. These guys are gonna really take a step back and think about what's going on. They cannot be letting these losses of game ones affect them so badly.
Yeah. Do you think it has anything to do with the patch? The Zergs are just like, well, I can't deal with this. You know, they come out in game 1, they're like, well, I give up.
Well,
that's
you know
it.
What?
You know,
the thing is,
these are both like very depressive Zergs. Very
depressive Zergs.
They are.
The thing is that Rogue, he let him pick up these mech maps. He had a plan. He had a plan to deal with the mech. He couldn't make it happen because he just fell apart because he lost game 1 to Bio. He just couldn't let it happen.
Such a strange day we've had so far. But guys, we're going to jump into the fantasy interview. Our first place
완벽한
player
경기력을 보여준
move
데드픽스의
on to the round of
정명훈
16.
선수 바로 만나보겠습니다. 축하드립니다.
It's the person who showed the perfect match
와,
today. It is
박수
fantasy.
소리 들으시죠? 자, 오늘 노련한 어윤수 선수와 이병렬 선수를 잡고 1위로 진출하게 됐습니다. 먼저 소감을
Zerg, or rather, Su and Rogue to advance in first place.
아직까지 너무
How do you feel?
떨려가지고
I am very happy.
좀
Still kind of nervous after these matches.
너무 기뻐요.
네, 오늘 어윤수 선수와의
But I'm
1세트
still
잡은
really
후에는 쭉 쉬었던 것 같아요. 사실 오늘 1세트 그렇게 긴 경기가 나올 줄 몰랐는데 굉장히 감동적이었습니다.
After the first set against Su, it seemed really easy to
그 느낌이
but the first set was a
굉장히
really
중요한데
epic match.
이겼을 때
So how
어땠어요?
did you feel to actually play that
프로게이머
match?
인생 통틀어서 가장 최고의 경기 같고요. 네, 이기고 나서 정말
He said it was the best match out of his entire pro gaming career.
통틀어서 가장 최고였나요?
네,
And after he won that set,
네, 정말
he thought to himself
감동적이었습니다.
that he was going to easily
뜯어서
advance
이야기를
today.
해보면 3사진으로 시작해서 오늘의 이 명경기를 만든 수비형 메카닉을 이제 보여주셨습니다. 자, 사실 이 초반에는 상대가 원하는 소모전을 하면서 조금은 불리한
He showed some really
순간들도
defensive
있었고
mech play
끝낼 뻔한 위기도
in the first setup
있었는데
against Su.
그렇게 강한 생명력을 갖고 있는 체제였네요. 정명훈 선수의 근성이 있었기 때문에
How are
가능했던
you
것
able to
같은데
pull that
그런
victory
플레이
off?
좋아하시나요?
Do you have anything to say
사실 제가
about that game?
메카닉을 원래 잘 안 해가지고 오늘을 위해서 연습을 되게
He says he
많이
doesn't really play mech.
그래가지고 좀
Uh,
걱정도 많이
but for
했었는데
today's group,
결과가
he
좋아서
practiced the mech style.
앞으로는 이제 바이오닉도 잘하고 메카닉도
He was a little bit worried playing the mech style.
잘할 수 있을 것 같아요.
네, 오늘을 위해 준비했다고
He says he's
말씀하셨는데
both
정말
good at
빈틈없이
mech and bio.
완벽했습니다.
And he thinks that'll help him in
사실 그리고
further
또
rounds.
오늘 또 늦은 바이온이 저희 중계진은 이렇게 늦은 바이오닉 처음 본다 이렇게 말을 하더라고요. 순수 해병을 찍고 자극제
He also showed
업그레이드 하는
some
것도 굉장히
late bio
늦은
play against
타이밍이었잖아요.
Rogue.
굉장히 재밌다 이렇게 말씀하셨는데
He upgraded the sim very
오늘의 이
late.
승리의 기쁨은 벤시한테 또 돌려야 될 것 같거든요. 어떠셨어요?
Apparently.
그 벤시로 부하장과 가시적수 잡을 때.
그게 만화가 진짜 딱 없어지면서 아마 깼을 거예요.
네.
그래가지고 진짜 조마조마했는데 진짜 너무
Do you have
기분
any
좋았고
thankful words towards the
진짜
Banshee that killed the spine crawler in that game against
재밌는
Sue?
게임이었던 것 같아요.
네, 벤시로 부하장이
He was really nervous that the energy was gonna run out, of course.
정말
said it was
재밌었는데
the
그
best
전에
moment.
오히려 또 해병
Says it once
6기로
again in his
감축은 좀
entire
미리
pro
끊어준 게
gaming
굉장히 좋았던 것 같아요. 그리고 다 생각해서 혹시
네, 이길 방법은 이거밖에 없다 딱 해가지고
네.
그거만
It was also a
노렸는데
huge moment when the Marines killed the
한 대
Overseer.
남기고 안 죽는 거예요.
네.
And that was the only way he would be able to win that match.
많이 되게
It's actually very
떨렸는데
true.
마지막에
He said he really wanted to kill that Overseer. He was extremely nervous when he sent those Marines to kill the Overseer.
오랫동안 회자가 될 것
But
같은데
he feels very lucky
자,
that he was
이렇게
able to pull it
저그들에게
off.
강력한 모습을 보여주고 16강에
he
올라가게
was.
됐습니다.
Crazy game.
원하시던 조진영식도 하게 됐어요. 지금 분위기로는 아무도 두렵지 않을 것 같은데 어떠세요?
Now you're in the group selection.
준비만 잘하면
And it seems like you'll be able to defeat anyone if you play like this again.
꼭 제가 말했던 우승까지 할 수 있도록
First, he says
열심히 하겠습니다.
if he
네,
prepares well, he should be
정말
able to defeat
우승
anyone.
가슴에
And his
끼어오르는
goal
느낌인데
is to become the
정명 선수
champion.
제가 작년 여름에 봤을 때는 굉장히 고민하던
It's my goal too,
모습이 기억이
to become the
나는데
champion.
It's not
올해
Eventually.
It's
시작하자마자
natural.
굉장히 좋은 모습 보여주고 있거든요. 사실 이렇게 빨리
You're
활력적인
showing
모습
better matches
보여줄지
than last
몰랐는데
year.
무슨 일이
How did you
있었던
overcome
건가요?
your
저는
sort of
이것도
slump from
늦었다
last year?
생각하고 이미 한 시즌 지나갔기 때문에
Basically, how did you improve your play?
이번에 최대한 높이 올라가야 된다 생각하고 있어요.
이렇게 듣고 나니까
He said he wanted to
정명
do well in
선수
season
지금
1, but he wasn't able to pull it off.
맞으시죠? 네, 이렇게 오랜
Feels
시간
like he's
동안
kind of
근성
a
있는
late
모습,
bloomer,
이런
so
원동력이
he's gonna try
어디서
to do his
나오는지
best in season
궁금하네요.
2. Try to get good results from now on.
모르겠어요. 일단
네.
팀을 나오면서
네,
잘해야 된다는 동기부여가 많이 생겼고
네,
좀 스스로 채찍질을 많이 한 것 같은데
네.
After he left
Oh,
SK
oh.
Telecom T1,
정명 선수
It actually
정말
motivated
내면이
him.
강한 선수라는 생각이 드는데
So he
자,
actually
팬들도
practiced
굉장히
harder
환호하고
than he
계십니다.
ever did when he was on the cusp of
오늘
things.
이번 시즌 어떤 모습
Pretty surprising
보여주실까
to hear.
팬들에게 한마디 부탁드립니다.
네, 오늘 이렇게 응원 많이 와주셔가지고 정말 감사하고요.
He says thank you to for coming out to the studio, to the fans,
네,
cheering me on.
알겠습니다.
And he's
오늘
gonna
1위 진출 다시 한번
try to show
축하드립니다.
some even
네.
more interesting matches in
자,
the
이렇게
future throughout
우리
the tournament.
명경기를 만든 주인공
Fantastic.
매드픽스의 정명훈
Great
선수와
interview from Fantasy, and
만나봤습니다. 자,
I'm glad he said it was the best game he's ever played. Like,
Yeah.
it really was. It doesn't get closer than that. Like,
It really does.
just a few bits of energy left on a Banshee to eliminate the Zerg.
And that guy has had such a long history, like in a long career, to say that that was the best game here in 2015.
Yeah, he's been around for a long
Whoa.
time to say that happened. I wonder if
Pretty
he means
crazy.
only StarCraft 2 or StarCraft 2 and Brood War.
It's possible.
It's possible either way because that game was actually just way too close.
Yeah.
It doesn't get closer than that.
It was pretty unbelievable. I feel like everybody in the studio was so surprised when the spine crawler was discovered. Everybody was like, "Wait, there's a
Yeah,
that
because-
wasn't the end."
Exactly.
The spine
because
crawler.
No one saw it on the stream. Like we
Yeah.
never saw the observer actually point out there's a spine crawler hiding. Everyone thought the hatchery was the last thing, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Why
We're
is
like,
it-
"Wow, he's actually gonna get
He's
it."
gonna get the hatchery. But and you're arguing like he might not have enough energy, but then he had enough energy to go and
Get
kill a
enough to-
spine crawler
yeah.
as well. Oh my
Insane.
goodness! It lasts a while, especially when he had such a bank on it too. Oh, it was crazy because he kind of forgot about that Banshee in the top right of the map.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're gonna take a 5-minute break once again before we go to that losers match: Rogue versus Truss.
swear I never meant to hurt no one, no. I'm
숫자 있거든요. 전멸했어요. 자, 근데 알고 있는데 김도욱도 알고 있는데 네 그냥 간 거예요. 근데 이거 김도욱이 좋아요.
병력 내렸습니다. 빨리 와줘 거시.
자, 그래도 거신이 연결체 점사. 연결체 지킨다. 연결체.
추가 병력 소환하면서 몰아내야죠. 몰아내야죠. 자, 고들 가두고.
거신 딸.
거신
자, 싸울 것 같은데요. 거신. 아니 진해영 선수들은
잘라줘요.
거신이 안 무섭나요?
그렇죠.
빠를 것 같아요. 이거
미리나 나선이 마중.
미리대비 광자가 수비 종인조.
맞춤장 걸렸죠. 수비에.
이거 너무 깔끔하게 맞은 것 같은데요.
전면. 전면.
자, 일꾼 좀 잡혀도 일꾼 말이 바로 영러시 있거든요.
그렇습니다.
바닥 들어가면
거기로 가요.
아 전멸 추적자들 앞.
뚫는
기다리고 있어요.
기다리고 있는데 내리는 병력 좋아요.
위에서
그치.
전면 뒤로 빠졌습니다.
거실 아 거실
거기에 또 하나 나왔습니다.
노성주가 들어가서 고치가 좋거든요.
그렇죠. 지뢰를 넣어라. 지뢰 갑니다.
시내가 4점
지뢰 갑니다.
시내. 트리플 먹기가 워낙에
점사.
보고 있었어요.
터졌어요.
보고 있었어요.
이거 터지면 안 되는데 황윤재
반응
속도.
반응 느렸어요. 반응 느렸어요.
내렸어요.
여기서 지뢰.
일꾼은 잘 뺐지만 잘 내렸어요 테란도.
그래서 내려서 공격하고 있습니다.
정윤정
있어요.
연결해야 돼요.
자 연결체.
김동 연결체 점사 연결체.
자 더 이상 되지 않지.
우선 다 잡혔어요.
연결체 못 깨고 이래서 하나.
정윤정 올라가면 다시 밸런스 맞추는 겁니다.
역시 수비의 정윤정.
정리해버리고 있죠.
완벽의 정윤정.
그렇죠. 바이킹이 없기 때문에
또 나가는 한방.
장윤정이 올라갑니다. 완벽한 수비를 보여준 이후에 역습한 바로 끝내버리네요.
수성탑을 짓게 되는 건 아예 서치 자체를 배제하는 것 같고.
그렇죠. 독에 들어갑니다.
짜잔.
들어가는 타이밍 정말 좋죠.
우측으로 돌아가고 있어요. 이러면은 좀 아쉬움이 생기죠. 조상우 선수. 조금만 더 내려가 볼 걸.
한승이 같은 거 점사를 끊어줘도 좋고요.
네, 마지막으로 생각하고 좀 밀어붙여야 되는 한지원 선수죠. 자, 거신 믿고 지금 들어갔는데요. 불면차 두 개입니다.
거신이 근데
앞전면
앞점추 안 좋거든요.
한방
앞점추 안 좋았어요.
거의 뚫었죠.
예, 뚫어내고 있는 한재훈 선수. 그렇게 당하다가
야 진짜 거신
역시.
한기가
예,
제 역할 제대로 해줬습니다.
절대 타이밍이었어요.
예, 이 마지막 타이밍이었거든요.
지지.
자, 지지.
선수 빌드 준비했습니다. 여기에 아마
아마
네. 아마 뭐요?
다른 거 말하려고 했었던 것
자,
같은데.
인공 제어소가 완성되면 황혼회라던가 우주관문을 지어줄 줄 알았는데
근데-
여기에 투관문을 지어줍니다.
예, 아마 한 분이었습니다.
하루만. 산즈.
와.
이런 빌딩을
진짜 준비 잘했네요.
예, 제가 봤던 이제 한재훈 선수 플레이 중에서 가장 빛난 플레이인데요. 그래서 상대방이 좀 움직이고 오.
호 선수가 확실히 못 봐서 바로 로봇광시설 서로 올려주고 있잖아요. 이거 자체가
이야 이거 컨트롤 싸움.
조성호 이거 깨지면 인구도 막히거든요.
그렇죠.
두드리고 있습니다.
길성 막혀요.
자, 여기서 판단 내려야죠. 추가적으로 일꾼까지 동원하면서
이 싸움 컨트롤.
싸우는 선택을 하는데요.
누가 컨트롤을 요즘에 잘해느냐?
예.
근데 뒤에 잡혔어요.
딱 컨트롤 예전
저
잘하는
세계가
사람이 생길 수 있는 거예요.
한지훈 컨트롤 좋아요. 인구
여유 있죠. 불사조가 또 많기
저
때문에
세계.
더 여유 있습니다.
한지훈이 잡네요. 한지훈이 잡았어요.
한대장 강선.
중력자가 선을 들면 잡아주고 있습니다.
한 번 더 소환되면 경기 끝나거든요.
자, 두 기 차인데요.
지지.
패닉. 오늘 반짝의 이 달인의 모습을 보여줬던 한지훈 선수가
네.
극적으로 마지막에 좀 올라가네요. 자, 이제 컨트롤 마이크로 컨트롤 싸움입니다. 위로 돌아오고 있습니다. 폭폭 피하면서 산개
올려서 산개 때문에
좋았거든요.
뒤로 잡혔습니다. 여기서 거신
산개 엄청 좋았어요.
들어와서 꽝 하고 들이붙는 이재훈 선수.
우리가 엄청해요. 녹아요. 테라명이 녹아요.
그렇죠. 아래쪽에 있는 명령 집중한 두 기가
불멸자가 다 죽이고 있어요.
불멸자 네 마리 역시. 확실히 치즈러시를 막아줄 때는 불멸자가 탈 수 있는 게 정말 좋은 것 같아요.
근데 스캔 한번 쓰고.
네.
근데 스캔 한번 보통 쓰고 들어가거든요.
근데 치즈라서 지기로부터 던졌다면 치즈라서 지기로부터 던지면 스캔 없죠.
들어가서 진짜
바이킹 너무 많아요.
자,
진짜
아래쪽에 있는 거 진짜 가짜 이거 잘 판단해 정리하면 들어가야 됩니다.
좋은데 병력이 너무 많아요. 요즘 병력이 너무 많고.
들어가면 밀어버리네요.
그리고 조지현 불멸자가 없습니다. 위험합니다.
자극제 먹고 싸웁니다.
바이킹이
거신.
점프 못했어요.
지금 3개 남았어요. 3개.
거신 사나요?
바이킹 두 기가 정리를 하면서 거신 녹았습니다.
의료선 없어요. 자 그래서 광장 충전이 한 대 때릴 때마다 하나씩 죽은 거 이제 이정도
좋고 시간에 고 기한 없어요.
싸우는데 물량이 많이 터져 나오죠.
이정은 병력 많은데요.
네,
거신 하나 추가.
불고 앞자고 좀 들어 싸웁니다. 자, 거신 잡아내는데요.
자 거신 관리 잘해야 돼요.
추가 병력 싸움인데 자원수 잘
주변이 밀어내는 것 같아요.
조금 더 나아요.
오늘 이제 거신 체제인데
예.
자 교전 다시
들어
한번
싸웁니다. 위에서 거신 3개.
바이킹.
자, 잡아줘야 되는데 의료선이 없고요.
자 광장사가 녹아버리면
예, 여기 뚫리면
거신 두 마리 다 살았거든요. 밀 거
여기서
같아요.
밀어버리네요.
앞전면.
거신
버티고.
위로 가서 시합하고
앞전면.
생각하네요.
자 타이밍.
끝나겠는데요. 밀리겠는데요.
이정훈 이거 잡아내야 됩니다. 이거
자극제
잡아내야
들어가.
돼요.
뒤를 수 있어요.
1분치를 났으면서
불고 점사.
예, 속가주죠.
앞전면.
앞전면. 어우, 들어왔어요.
그리고
불공 충격탄 가면 돼. 불공 하나.
앞전
뒤에서 추적자가 맞춰주니까.
벙커.
예, 와. 이 뒷배가 든든하다 보니까.
야, 조시원이 이종을 잡네요.
예, 막 들어갑니다.
예전에 같은 팀일 땐 상상하기 좀 어려웠을 텐데.
그렇죠.
자, 결국
지제. 예전에 항상 결승전에 올라간 선수 이정훈이었거든요.